Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Unified Proving Ground Circuit Qualifier. As we got to witness that, yes, IMT AOE, they are still mad, and they still are rampaging throughout every team that faces them. Yeah. Wow, what a performance put out from them inside of this first game.
It was a fast one. 23 minutes, closing that out. That was a really explosive game. And like I said before we got into this game, you gotta have a plan to attack Meech and Winston, and Dare definitely did not bring that to game one. They've got to go back to the drawing board for game two.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a rough spectacle for them inside of that. They didn't have the plan drafted, but we do have some plays drafted, some replays, some may call them, and we have some interesting plays here to kind of cycle through. One of the big ones, I think, is a big moment where a lot of people were like, oh no, Meech. He's popping off inside of the game. Nicole, if you could just kind of walk us through this.
Yeah, it's just to know the matchups in this game. No one on IMT really outskills except for the Furios, which is going to be their deciding win con here, right? And the fact that he was able to get such a good lead through this fight. Yeah, they'll just, just 1, 2, and 3 kills in for the Furios here.
Yeah. This is such a tragedy for Dare. And I mean, Trevor just crushed this team fight as well. Or I call it a team fight, but it was like 3 minutes into the game or whatever. Meech just getting a triple kill. It feels like a team fight when an AD carry's popping off that much. But yeah, Trevor, like, really crushing that skirmish, like cornering everyone into a wall and keeping the Unbreakable up for the whole thing. That was really cool.
I'd stand behind Trevor any day after that play. That was fantastic, honestly. And really and truly, it just kept going on for them. But there was a little hiccup that they had to experience here, Smats. And you caught up exactly this in the second replay that we have here. Some interesting shenanigans happened.
Yeah, so we've got a really interesting moment, and one that's super unique as well, where Censored is going to get dove underneath this turret. And you can see he's level 5 Shen. It's not a lot that he can do in this instance. He has Flash, but everybody is piling on top of him. He can't do a whole lot. He dies in the middle of this play at level 5. However, you'll notice that he gets the kill onto Anime Girl, and that actually pushes him up to level 6. Which Immortals have actually no way of knowing that happened unless they guess that the experience actually got him there. So he has access to Stand United. They have no way to know, and then it's instantly able to punish them in the bottom lane. So I thought this was a really cool moment, and one that Immortals really didn't have a lot of ways to see coming. But it was a moment where Dare were actually able to shut down the Aphelios at least a little bit in the early game. Now, he had a triple kill before this, but it's a nice moment.
Yeah, it's a nice moment. It's a nice little shutdown, and it was a hiccup, right? IMT, like you said, possibly caught off guard in that moment precisely, as they're just like, wait, hold on, Shen's down here. Top laners aren't supposed to be bot lane anymore. But here we are. They still find their way. They'll just pick a different champion. But things did not continue to be hiccups. There were no more hiccups in IMT, and they started running rampant. We have one last replay here that really showcases the last fight that we got to see Dare really try to engage upon, try to pick their moment. And Nicole, just take it away from here.
Yeah, this fight looked more like a desperation play from Dare more than anything. They had vision of the Fearless walking down here. Fearless was caught on the ward. And then the Zen right here, that was such a beautiful ult. And it ulted Shen low into the Helios, and that from there was just easy cleanup.
This is such a crazy fight. The timing on that is wicked for Winston. Just completely stuffing the disengage for Censored. Really love the mechanics there, and then like you said, Meech is just fully able to clean this up. It's a full ace for them. A little bit delayed, because I think the respawns come through, but an ace is an ace, and Meech just getting even more kills on the Aphelios. The game is completely over by this point. There are a whole lot of other kills that went on, but that's really the moment that stung the most for Dare, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm. And then you look back at Anime Girl tanking the tower, highlighting a comment that we heard from our casters, standing there like a proud dad, watching his children go off. That was Shout outs to that.
Yeah, I'm just picturing Rude, like, giving his child a push on the bike, and then he lets go, and they keep pedaling. He's like, yeah!
I want to pop a Kinch skin now. That's what Rude has told me I need. We do have an end game graphic here to kind of showcase how the gold transpired here, and you can see, even though that one hiccup, Immortals AOE just hit the pedal, man.
Felio's damage pretty high. That's not bad.
Slightly. Yeah, slightly. That's probably like an A+ ranking.
Meech is pretty good at League of Legends, guys. I think we should probably do something about that in the early game, in Game 2 for Dare, if you're going to want to shut this guy down. Yeah, I mean, Dare on their last leg, right? One more loss to their Nexus in the series knocks them out of the tournament. They got to try in the next one to continue on in the Proving Ground circuit. And for a team that turned so many heads and got so many upset wins, I'm hoping to see them have a little bit more fight in this one. I want to see that prep really put to work here.
How about you, Nicole? What are you keeping your eyes on going into this Nets game?
I think they had like Aphelios be the sole win con for the last game, right? No one else really did skill but him. If it works, it works. He showed up.
Yeah.
Subscribe to Meech Gaming, the bot lane. Let's go. But what we're going to do here, ladies and gents, is we are going to take it over to a short break before seeing our beautiful casters. So, with that being said, we will see you soon. Do not touch that browser.
Looking to upgrade your gamer gear? Look no further. Start your 2022 off right with official Unified Esports merchandise brought to you by Skulls, hoodies, joggers, jerseys, armbands, and a lot more coming soon. You have the skill, now get the swag. Skulls.com/collections/unified has everything you need. Gear up and game on with Skulls. With that, Rudude, welcome everyone to the pre-game for the second round of Dare versus Immortals AOE. Because the first round, let's be very clear, Dare need to wipe entirely from their memory. It was terrifying.
It was a knockout.
It was really, yes. That's actually the perfect way to phrase it. Normally, we're at boxing, this would be done, but it isn't.
Yeah, they get second wind. They're able to, we're playing the Wii. Did you ever play Wii Sports, dear?
Oh, I'm always, yeah.
This guy, he's been hitting the nunchuck as fast as possible, trying to get himself back up, and IMT AOE, they're going to have to go once again here up against Dare to knock them out fully from the lower bracket. Obviously, this is that do or die game for Dare Gaming, do or die series for Immortals AOE. Remember, the winners go off to the playoffs here of the Proving Grounds Closed Qualifier number 1, and then obviously Dare, unfortunately, I say Dare if they lose this game, but the loser ends up going home and gets himself some valuable PGC points, or not PGC, Proving Grounds points, excuse me, for this one, but let's wait and see. Game number 2 is about ready to get going.
Like, we're so close. We're actually so close to one of these teams being sent into the playoffs. It is ridiculous, the storylines for both of these guys, and it is unfair that only one of them will make it. We touched on this a little bit earlier, but with IMT AOE having such massive expectations and being knocked into the lower bracket, basically speed running it down, and then being able to maybe climb back, and with Dare starting off 20th seed and just on the cusp of breaking into playoffs in their very first Proving Grounds circuit qualifier run, it's massive.
It is for both these teams. They've gone from bottom 20 or top 20 rather to being a top potentially 8 team if they able to turn this one around, top 12 at the worst case. And to speak to the caliber of this group as well, the team that went on in the first seed from this group were actually the lowest rated coming into it from the open qualifiers. It was Winthrop, who came in at 14th in their sort of seeding after the open qualifiers. They went on and won the group. They've taken down Immortals AOE. They've taken down Dare or another team on their journey then to success. And this is, sort of the story of this Group C has been really all over the place. And just because one game has gone really well for Immortals AOE doesn't mean there's going to be a second that comes that easily.
No, it certainly doesn't. And consistency is something the roster has struggled with throughout this very first tournament. But it's also something that they've consciously worked on and definitely improved at. We saw it in the bot lane just last game. And normally, you see your jungler in that position. I see my jungler in that position, and I kind of go, you know what? You're probably going to die. We'll do our best, but we're not going to put ourselves in risky situations. But IMT AOE very clearly trust each other and do have the teamwork that I would say has come to be 50-50 for them until this point. If they can keep this up, it's going to be Dare that really need to step up and show us what they're made of, because this team has also been known for, I'll say, a little bit more chaotic of a playstyle, but especially in the late game, that team fighting that really makes them special.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that if BMFX is able to get to a point where he's not just 7 kills behind his counterpart after the first 15 minutes, that he can stand toe-to-toe and hold his own in a team fight. But a lot of the... And I think that's something that is actually, I'm going to change my point here, that something that was really strong from Dare last game was actually, I touched on it actually, that we did see Limo actually close way back into a point of power from his, what was ultimately, could have been a very brutalizing early game where he gets killed on his golems, he loses 2, he gets 3 buffed, but he's still level 5 even CS about 2 minutes later. And that really does speak to the caliber of player that they've got in their jungle, and that they have avenues to succeed. If Limo can really get unleashed, get unchained a little bit, and maybe go for these slightly more adventurous plays that there's an opportunity for Winston to maybe not predict, there's a real possibility that there's a Dare to make this win happen.
Yeah, both these junglers are super integral to their team's plans when it comes to really the playmaking. We saw Anime Girl in the Tom Kenshin. It was a different look than what I've been used to from Anime Girl. Did still look like a great enabler, and I love that IMT AOE are showcasing they've got a different option for this. But make no mistake, Winston was, if you'll forgive the pun, the spearhead of a lot of those plays, and really made them from the early game.
What if I don't
turn
forgive
into
the
this
pun?
massive power? Sorry?
What if I don't forgive the pun? Do I just leave? Is that how this works?
Hold on. If you don't, I think you give me another chance. I think.
But take 2. What?
It's
Give
a
me
best
another
of 3.
phrasing.
Best of 3.
Okay.
Yeah. So
No, I forgive the pun. We don't need to worry about that, because you make some very valid points. That Winston, obviously coming out of having been on TSM Academy as well a little bit ago, has obviously got a lot of experience, and now coming onto an Immortals amateur team is certainly looking to show and exceed that as well, and sort of pass that on to other players. Meech down in the bot lane, who was our sort of superstar carry from the last game, took a split off last year and now coming back feeling that competitive itch once again. And he's certainly getting it scratched in this game, because in this series, obviously, after the ability really on a Fearless to take 3 kills early on, you really do feel something special, and I'm really interested to see what limits Meech can go to, because that was a good showcase of what he's capable of. I think that he's still got higher highs, because even though he got incredibly snowballed, it's not like the battling from behind and you get to see the full strengths of this player. I mean, the ability for him to take over and snowball, obviously very useful and was exemplified, but I'd like to see again another matchup where it's maybe a little bit closer, where we can truly see how good this guy is at playing from even an even state and then trying to out team fight.
I want to see BMFX. We talked about this a little bit. If he's playing at even, we think they can do incredible stuff and, perhaps measure up to IMT AOE later on in the game. But we didn't really get to see Enigma really do much. And I like Chemtech Akali as a concept in the league
and
world.
Just like that, you've ended your career. Goodbye.
Boom. Like I
quote dear. There we go.
I think it's an interesting development, and it has obviously an incredible amount of power. However, it's not this ridiculously high burst champion in the way that things like Victor and Quirky are late game, and I would really like to see Enigma have something a little bit more like that his team can lean on him a little bit more in the late game and even from behind, because at the point that an AD carry gets fed, you really don't have to worry about Chemtank Akali nearly as much when she's not.
Like, something that we sort of touched on, and something that is sort of really present with that Chemtank Akali is, it's all very well and good having these tanky stats, but when the enemy AD carry is quite literally 3 items, tanks fear the AD carries at 3 items, right? Like, you go to one item versus one item, that's great, but on an Akali where your abilities are scaling obviously off of physical magical damage, and you need those stats to back you on up. Going for that turbo chem tank early on is actually going to make your assassination potential that little bit harder, and particularly in the composition that Enigma had around him last time. He did have a Shen Stand United to give him that extra shield, a little bit of extra durability as well. So there was actually a world where you can just sit in his shroud, wait for the Shen to come through, and then use the ability, use something like a Proto Belt to just absolutely one-shot his opponent ADC, get him each down in the dirt. Obviously it's very difficult versus a Braum, and we're never saying that it's going to be easy. But there's that world where Chemtech Akali, obviously, whilst very powerful, can be maybe cookie-cutted a little bit too much.
It really can feel like that because of the more time that it takes. And let's not forget that Misha ended up going for second item LDR as well. So
yeah,
Tank Akali really felt like an exaggeration in that game.
True.
Because of how scary Mish was so early on. Now, of course, we're going to get our chance to figure out whether that happens again, because we are into the draft for Game 2. And as evidenced visually, these teams have not swapped sides. Dare to be on that blue side one more time. We'll see if they can find some more advantageous matchups than they had in Game 1.
Certainly, an interesting take here, veering that maybe, we can do something better with our draft, because it was a very niche situation that they put themselves into. I think you and I were both a little bit skeptical when we saw the first pick Graves come through, but their ban's so far unchanged. Diana going to be the last one here if they don't elect to change anything, but they have got the option to just say, hey, that Aphelios was pretty darn scary, or that Twisted Fate we don't want to play against. They've got a couple options here from the enemy team that they may look to take away. The Xin Zhao as well for Winston was pretty instrumental in starting things off, so they have plenty of choices, and you can see the deliberation going into this one. IMA on the other side of things, nothing changed just yet. Jinx was their final ban if they're going to go for anything.
Now, okay, Viego.
Interesting.
Is what they go with. And I respect it. I don't want to play against Viego either. Like, it makes total sense, but it does mean that at least one of the champions that Immortals AOE had last game could be theirs again, whether it be that Xin Zhao or that Aphelios, and again, potentially both, because remember, Dare didn't initially go for their own last time, instead, I believe, opting for the Graves as a first pick. I wonder whether they do that again, because it did feel underwhelming ultimately.
Yeah, I think that this Viego ban says that they're probably going to go for a first pick jungle on something that they didn't want to play up against. If the Viego is something they didn't want to play up against with this first pick coming through. I'm pausing because okay, Set, you know what, again, a bit of an abstract pick and sort of cements top lane B1, which I'm gonna give full influence to Censored to say that this is probably getting him on a comfort pick and just saying, okay, we're gonna play for BMFX, we know what our team composition does, what our play style is, let's give Censored his bread and butter, what he feels the most comfortable on, so that he has the best chance of sustaining top lane.
I accept your argument. I don't like the approach, but I don't have to like it. It has to win, right? Mm-hmm. So if this is the winning move for Dare, if they believe that this is their best option, I see it, because at least Set is going to bring some really nice utility to the team fight, and he has the ability to outfight some things that perhaps Anime Girl wants to take into the top side. For Immortals AOE, though, the first phase of the draft has never been easier. It's exactly the same thing. It's the power that you had last game.
Yeah, and the beauty here is that their pick on 3 was a Twisted Fate, which was an answer to the Akali. So from IMA, from now, it's kind of all up in the air as to what they're going to go for, and will be, hopefully, fairly reactive. Obviously, with Thresh banned away, you don't get to have that Thresh Aphelios pairing, but the option of the Braum still exists. It's a bit of a budget Thresh, honestly, but Nautilus Leona also still exists to go down for that bot lane pairing. They've got their choice of options right now. I expect, Jarvan jungle, just a jungle match here to pair up with that Xin Zhao, and then you maybe even take something like the Jhin once again, because ultimately it was just an execution error on the bot side that snowballed everything, and from there on in it never quite felt the same. So going for something like the Ziggs in the bot side, it's not quite an AD carry, but it's one of those picks that we've seen float around at the similar sort of tier for Dare.
Okay, and the Ziggs is it's a pick. It's a pick that changes the game.
Talk to me.
For Dare, because BMFX, I really like him as a hyper carry. I love seeing him on things like the Jhin, and the Ziggs does take a little bit of that autonomy away, and changes the consistency of AD carries, especially when up against assassins.
But dear, now let me tell you about a combo.
I'm ready.
Cataclysm Mega Inferno Bomb.
That sounds pretty sick, honestly.
Now,
onto Aphelios.
Tell me who doesn't have a mobility on their team. It's Aphelios.
Yeah.
Conceptually, this looks really good on paper. They have the tools late game.
They've giga-brained it.
To just one-shot on Aphelios. And now we get to see what the answers are. Because this is actually just like one of those situations where you may just go, your job is to kill Aphelios, well, we pick Zillion, well, we pick Karma, right? And we maybe not Karma, because that's a little bit more up in the air as to its use down on the bot side, but they have got that choice. And you can see they're banning away supports already to sort of make sure that their bot lane isn't quite so oppressive, because early on the Aphelios should be able to, at the very least, CS better than the Ziggs. Obviously, CSing on Ziggs early on, not quite as easy. Yes, you've got the bombs to clear the ways, but it can be quite difficult to effectively last hit them, particularly when your support may not have the pickup, the matchup that you so desired.
Yeah, and at this point, just keeping in that momentum is going to be the best for Dare, trying to make sure they don't fall too far behind on this side of the map. But for a set early pick that we thought showed us that we were going to be going bot side for Dare, and now a Ziggs that is traditionally much stronger on the weak side, where is Dare actually going to start getting an advantage? Are they going to try and gank the Ziggs? Are we going for a bruiser set? Because something here is going to defy expectations, and it may very well catch Immortals AOE off guard.
You know, I would tell you that it's going to be a bot side angle, but honestly, I can't, because they've banned away two. So that it's a top side play for them. But banning away two supports isn't what you do. You'd want to ban away things that the set doesn't do too well against. If you were going to try and really focus down on Censored and get him to be the carry, which is a complete detraction from what Dare have gone for just in general throughout the season. So we're expecting to see it be bot side focus and still just utilize the Ziggs and maybe get to level 6 before you particularly get aggressive on it. Enigma pulls out the Vex, which is one of the goated counter picks to a LeBlanc. Is really going to be putting out a lot of hurt in that mid lane matchup, and Enigma, as we talked about, the champion that has those counter picks, should be able to find that success in the mid lane really easily.
Yeah, the Vex providing a lot of value inside of the team fights as well. Definitely gives Enigma that chance to pop off and perhaps even be focused in the early game if they can find some nice counters to LeBlanc mobility that set her up at a detriment. Galio being the last lock-in at least tells us that Dare don't want to stick around bot lane for too long and want to have some options to roam around. You can use this Ziggs as a central sort of wave clearing bot and then get your Galio to move around with other people. So Dare get themselves a really nice mid-game plan, albeit their early game falling a little further behind.
And then the Graves to follow on up. That's going to be the top lane matchup of choice for Immortals AOE here to handle Censored in that top lane. And we'll have to wait and see how that one develops. R5 Graves is something that we just tend to see if you want something a little bit more, just again, fairly neutralizing. You're able to use end of the line if that wave comes into you. Even if you're the one first to the wave, you can clear it fairly effectively. And should be, hopefully, a fairly quiet top side of Summoner's Rift with what I believe IMA are looking for is just an absolute load of pressure down onto BMFX.
It's got to be, right? Because their draft, at the very least, has got the self-sufficient top that just lets everybody walk in. Dare, on the other side, still a lot of questions. If they want to try and play towards bot side, I think that they've got plenty of room to do so, because they do have that Galio for a little bit of setup. The Ziggs not really slouching in the damage too much. However, it's not necessary. It's also not necessary to play towards top, and the mid lane can roam. I feel like the first couple minutes for Dare, at the very least, should be pretty hands-off, and that leaves a little bit too much tempo in the hands of Immortals AOE, but if they don't make use of it, and we hit those 6s on Dare, that's where things can start shifting in their favor.
Yeah, let's just look at the composition of Dare for a second and identify what it's going to look to achieve. It is kill Meech, right? They saw that Meech hypercarried game number 1. We've got Jarvan Cataclysm, we've got Hero's Entrance on top of that, we've now got Mega Inferno Bomb and a Vex jumping in on top of that, and if anybody tries to engage onto Immortal or engage from Immortals, they've got a showstopper to take them right back out into the backline. If Meech doesn't have flash, 9 times out of 10 Meech should die, and we're going to have to sort of speak to how well he can position as a player and how well the team can heal him as well. We've got a couple heal usages, Trevor and Winston, with the knockback from the Xin ulti, with the charm as well. We may be able to do a little bit of work there, but it is going to be incredibly difficult to keep this Aphelios alive, and then that piles the pressure onto Shochi, Winston, Anime Girl to be those secondary sources of damage, because if they pile all of that damage into the Aphelios and they kill him, they've still got 3 more people to try and get through.
I am actually very excited for Anime Girl Graves. This is this is both a hilarious sentence, by the way, as I realized sort of the mental imagery that
That's
goes
fine.
with it.
Your
But
travesty cosplay.
secondly, I know that Anime Girl has traditionally been fun with resources, and the Tom Kench did look really good, but being able to just straight up find 1v1s is something that Graves is really good at. Apply a lot of pressure in the side lane, and that sort of style for Anime Girl is what I came to know and love this player for. So if we can get that kind of pop-off, I think that we can really see two sides of the same coin and put a lot of fear into the opponents that Immortals AOE may just have in the playoffs. And if Derek can take them down at this point with this much confidence on Immortals AOE, they've got that Xin Zhao, they've got the Aphelios that looked so good last game, they've got the Graves. It is massive for Dare to be able to potentially unseat Immortals AOE in home territory.
Yeah, and I think that honestly, looking at the way that Dare can look to play this one, they've got a couple of resets on Enigma, and the consistent DPS from their squad not particularly abundant. That, you know, we're looking at a comp without an AD carrying. That tends to be what you draft your ADCs for. Without having that consistent source of DPS, you may start to struggle up against all of these quadra carries. But there's every opportunity as well that you catch, you know, more than just Meech inside that Cataclysm, that you do end up one-shotting more than one champion, because believe it or not, you know, it's not just one single pick tool that they've got, it's a large source of AoE ultis. So the Wombo combo does exist for Dare, that if they find that perfect team fight, that 1% chance that everybody's stacked up, grouped up in a corner, and Galio Taunt, for example, starts us all off, there's every opportunity that this team fight goes just in an instant in Dare's favor.
You can see me smiling. I'm actually really excited for the potential that for at least one or two team fights, somebody just won't be allowed to play the game. That's all I want. I want the fun that comes with that. However, it's gonna have to wait a few minutes. We're gonna take a very short break, and then we'll pop right back into Summoner's Rift. We hit that sweet, sweet rift once more, Rudude, and I am so excited. We have got Immortals AOE once again hitting the rift a little aggressively, albeit not as aggressively, because their level 1 this time does not warrant the 5-man bush play in bot side. Instead, it's a little bit more defensive. They're going to make sure that they don't give over any unnecessary information, and I don't mind it.
Neither do I. You know, I think that for IMA, I'd handedly say that so long as they can make it to a mid-game point, and or even like past mid-game, to a nice point where they have got 4 stable carries, they should be in a good position to take this game. My issue for them is actually, in fact, as I go back on my word, the mid-game point, when we start to see those level 6s come through, and as you quite rightly pointed out, when those ultis start to come online, that's sort of peak time for Dare Gaming to really pop off and start to make those plays, put Meech in a little bit of a hole perchance, and punish onto what could be a potentially immobile AD carry down on that bot side. You'll notice that he's taken the Cleanse. Now, Cleanse is good, and Cleanse will help you versus Galio, versus Fear of Vex, but the Cataclysm is ultimately something that can only ever be dodged by a flash. A Censored absolutely games on that ward, and it's just insane.
Destroys. Now he hits level 2 first, right?
Yeah. First
well,
wave, but
I guess
he's going to get to
approach
the wave.
Yeah. We're all sitting here trying to figure out exactly what sort of math he's going to get on the XP, when realistically he's going to get shotgunned in the face and probably not hit level 2 first. We'll see how it plays out, though, as CS on the top side is the thing talked about by analysts everywhere.
The level
Limo
2?
on the other side, this is an interesting play. He is just full sending it up to the top side.
Chinese level
this
2
is why
Jarvan.
we love Limo, but it's gotta work.
But look where Winston is. He's going to be in prime position to respond to this if it doesn't go well swiftly.
Level 2 on Limo. Anime Girl does have flash, but he needs to flash the flag and drag on time. Doesn't do. Instead, Limo gets the flash. Anime Girl gets out of the tower, and Censored is gonna die. Censored goes down, and Anime Girl gets the first blood in a tragic turn of affairs. Immortals
Winston
AOE
flash.
are gonna pick up 1 kill, and looks like Limo may get out. Anime Girl not gonna repeat the mistakes of his predecessors, but oh my.
Yeah, you know what? That didn't go well, dear. I'm just going to say it right
No.
now. Jarvan has ruined his entire pathing and may even end up losing a little bit more right now.
Oh,
but
no.
He has got flag and drag, so like stepping up like this is okay. He's gaining vision, but now he's got no flag. Maybe a little bit more difficult. It looks like with the priority of his mid laner, though, Limo may well be able to force out Winston, but he's not got any health, so you know we'll have to take a double take on that one.
This one's looking a little sussy. Limo gonna
Oh,
take
no.
the Wolves, likely walk right out of there. No need to stick around as blue buff goes over to Winston, and he owns effectively 3 sides of the map at this point, albeit not having taken his bot side just yet. Anime Girl was spotted on the recall, but let's take a look at this again because I liked the pathing from Limo.
Yeah.
It's just unlucky.
You know, I was a fan of this replay, and then I realized where it was going to end and what was going to end up being the end result. And this comms must have been sensitive. I actually hit level 2 off this 6th creep, and then they go for it. A really good flash from Limo as well. I have to call this out. He follows the dash from Anime Girl, but the potion pops early on. I think it's fleet footwork as well for the Graves, so it is just so difficult to try and catch him. And you know, Winston dashes on here. Doesn't have the 3 Talon strike yet because he's still level 2. But, you know, getting away from that one is obviously ideal for Limo, but not so ideal that he loses his top laner in the exchange.
You know, I feel like if everyone were level, this is a dumb thing to say, but if everyone were level 3,
yeah,
that goes totally different. Like, because
Fair
Censored would have had Censored would have had the Haymaker, Winston would have had the 3-point strike. Anime Girl would have had the smoke screen. Like, there's so many kills that just coulda, woulda, shoulda happened in that instance. And
analysts everywhere are
nothing went that way.
Analysts everywhere are just crying at the casters, saying, basically in their minds, this is if they'd have just killed them, they'd have killed them. You know, like you've just triggered everyone everywhere, unfortunately. But I completely understand the sentiment, and I had a good chuckle regardless.
Good.
Well, Blossoms is in the top lane, and I want to quickly point this one out, that with the boots on, he hasn't got Predator, which is something that we tend to see from Gallios. It is the Glacial Augment, so a little bit of a different take. But we were sort of questioning where Death's focus would be, and I think that dying under the top lane turret level 1 sort of told us where we were expecting it to be. It is going to be that top-sided focus, and a lot of eyes on Anime Girl here to see how well he can absorb this pressure, because currently he's not getting any farm.
No, at this point, he is pretty well zoned off. That time ticking away on the ward is going to start to get into his mind. I like that he backs off at least to get a little bit of his own jungler's farm, since Winston is far and away ahead of Limo, so he's not really missing anything. And Limo, in the meantime,
what is he
can't
doing?
really find these CS anyway. So really, it's just winning for Anime Girl, because while he does get frozen on, he also leaves Limo still level 3, while his mid laner has just hit level 6. I cannot express to you how
caps.
far behind Limo is.
Get them.
Oh, God.
There we go.
God.
Wolves number 2, baby. Here we go. Can he do it? 6 minutes into the game. Can he hit level 4? These are questions that we need answering. The bot lane, we did get to see a little glimpse of it. Unfortunately, it's fairly rough for their gaming right now. Blossoms worked his way up toward that top side, and I think Winston here, they're either going to force a crash and dive, which versus level 6 set isn't too easy, or they're going to just crash this wave under the turret and force the reset on the lane, which is a privilege that, unfortunately, BMFX doesn't have down in the bot lane.
Winston's thinking about it. He's going
He
to
hit
find
level
Limo
4.
here. There we go. 1 level advantage on Winston. Not even going to pop the Scryer's Bloom, but I think he got spotted just on the
There's a
edge
pink,
of vision. I think Limo would have seen that one happen. So, in the meantime, Enigma, at the very least, should have an idea. And speaking of Enigma, we got to give props to him. He's the one whose lane is winning, and that means he is the juiciest target as he walks just a little too far forward. Shane not going to connect, but Winston's still in his tail, and we've got a second Shane. So, Flash ends up going down for Enigma. Well, Winston thinks about going for the Rift Raptors and goes, maybe not. Maybe not into the level 6 Vex.
Potentially that is a bad idea, and I just want to, quickly apologize for the slight issue with the graphic. Of course, this is not still 0-0 base gold. We're working on getting that resolved as quickly as possible. But with the 1 kill lead currently, it's just Anime Girl who has a. Well, Winston's dead.
Surprisingly, even as we pan back over, that is not the way that I thought it was going to go. But instead of invading into the level 6 Vex, he decided that he would do it into 3 people. And while I may be undermining the play slightly, please note that it comes with a lot of respect. He tried it, he failed it, but it's what Immortals AOE have always been about: is going for the crazy things, and if they don't work out, well, they don't work out.
And that's just a chalk it up to. And didn't work, and then that's all we say. It's unfortunate. We'll go again, and ultimately, Winston had such a massive lead anyway that this is effectively neutralizing the jungle disparity at this point. It does make Shochi's lane a little bit harder because his mid laner his enemy mid laner got a kill. So Enigma now comes back to lane with what is a Kindle gem as opposed to the Ruby Crystal, a little bit of extra HP in that department. So the one-shot capability is not going to be as easy. It looks like Shochi and Anime Girl, they have got other plans. They do not care for this Vex in the mid lane. Instead, it is Crab that they want on their menu.
You know, I will say that, in a way, it not only makes Shochi's life harder, but any kill on Enigma also makes Meech's life significantly harder, because Vex absolutely loves jumping on top of AD carries, and Meech, unfortunately, does occupy that role. So there's a chance, actually, that this goes wrong, which is why Winston is returning into the mid lane. Remember, Enigma has no flash, so should go down here. Not enough burst to get onto Shochi, and the Fear not quite going to do nearly enough. So, Shochi ends up getting that kill right back, and that at least is a correction of past mistakes. Let's take a look at it.
Really good combo from Shochi, honestly, right? He just thinks it's Enigma just thinks it's a distortion onto the wave for wave clear, and then just really good double distort to close that gap, get the damage, and the chain is point blank, near unmissable, and just sets up for Winston to come on through, dish out as much damage as possible. And, you know, for Shochi now, really good chance that he can just snowball and take this game a little bit by storm. The one-shot capabilities really sort of only on the Ziggs and potentially Vex if you find her without personal space available, or potentially window shopping or something like that. But either way, should be a few targets at the very least for the LeBlanc to try and find.
Underrated positioning, by the way, just for the moment from Winston, as he managed to avoid the looming darkness and not get feared, because that looming darkness absolutely would have saved Enigma. Otherwise, we're still there we go. We're now back to live, and it's a good thing too, because Shochi and Trevor were getting engaged on. Now returning, however, it's time to fight over Rift Herald. Nobody loves it more than Immortals AOE, already taken one kill. They do get traded back on, and Winston ends up going down. A second kill falls in the favor of Dare, but Shochi is still around, and Enigma is thinking about recommitting onto Anime Girl. There's some tanky champions around here, and a nice fear comes in. Censored now on top of Shochi, and BMFX has joined up, but Anime Girl with this shotgun might just be enough. Steps away from the damage from Censored just in time to get the kill over to Shochi, and now BMFX is in a lot of trouble, and he's got to walk out of the river before he gets caught up too.
Oh, he's got to kite it out, but Shochi,
he's dead. That's unlucky.
He's done the do. And overall, another positive play from Immortals AOE right now. We've got that scoreboard nice and fixed up for you, but overall, that was a pretty well-fought team fight from Immortals AOE, and I don't even know if I'd call it that. It was just several skirmishes back-to-back, which is exactly what their composition wants. We talked about what Dare want. They want to go for those hard 5v5 aggressive style combos. Immortals, they just want to sit back and watch sort of the world burn, essentially, with their lower number skirmishes, and that's exactly what happened in that skirmish. 4 kills now for Shochi on the LeBlanc. If we thought that one sort of gank kill in the mid lane onto Enigma was bad enough, this guy got 7 stacks on his Dark Seal right now and almost completed the Luden.
Winston has returned to the scene of the crime, this time with a little bit of backup. He and Trevor want to try and take on the world, and hey, it may just work. They have found Blossoms, who doesn't have a whole lot of escapes, and he's going to get knocked up and potentially taken down, but with the investment of the Flash, will get out to safety. BMFX still relegated underneath the tower, and I may point out to you, Rudude, that it is not the best looking tower. Very, very low at this point. And most of that, is because Meech didn't come up to the Rift Herald play. So though Rift Herald did go over to Dare, first tower almost ended up going over to Immortals AOE.
And it still might, dear. We look across the plates of all of the tier 1 turrets of Immortals AOE. Currently they are all sitting very healthy right now. Got themselves 5 plates on there and not looking to be taken down anytime soon. So it's a very real possibility that with Limo lurking around, he's trying to shadow protect against his bot lane tier 1 falling. But whilst he's doing that, guess what Winston's doing? He's farming up a Storm, collecting himself even more CS, even more gold, and trying to propel that lead even further. Worth noting, though, that Limo from there, currently the sort of best poised player to take this game. Trevor, it's plays like that that are actually so impactful, but that appear so minute, but are so impactful, because effectively all he's done, or literally all he's done, is walked up and pressed Q. But effectively he's cancelled the recall and now denying the laning phase for Enigma for another 30 seconds.
Yeah, he's now got to take a reset and give Shochi even more time to roam down to this bot side. So in a way, Trevor is completely to blame for the fact that Immortals AOE are probably going to get this very first tower in the bot side. Meech has got so much space now, and it's the way that one small thing snowballs, and that's what Immortals AOE are so good at. Well, Limo takes over the job of pushing in the mid wave. Winston's going to be able to catch that, and Meech is going to cash in a bunch of extra gold for himself and rocket his team forward to a 5,000 gold lead with Rift Herald in the mid lane. It is now or never for Dare to start making this up.
Yeah, and now we've got Anime Girl coming in to try and respond. I don't think this is going to be enough. Oh my, 4v3.
It might be never. Oh my lord, Taunt does come in though, and Shochi gets out to safety as Anime Girl jumps over the wall on top of BMFX. There is no way that he survives that. Shochi getting another chain, forced the flash out of Limo, but it isn't enough. Winston picks up a little bit of an assist as in comes Meech for the kills, backing off entirely, getting a root, and Censored just is in pain. Shochi ends up picking up a kill, but a massive Inferno Moonlight Vigil corrects the course of things once more, putting Immortals AOE in the driver's seat and Anime Girl right into the ground.
A little bit overzealous on the dive right there. Collateral damage goes more than wide, unfortunately. It is a triple kill that Enigma collects for himself, so we've seen a Vex pop off once today. Maybe we get to see a second one, and if there's one person who can reset through your team in this game and absolutely dominate, it would be Enigma on this Vex. Let's get another look, though, at how that all started. Obviously there they've got the Ziggs Herald combo, typically touted for taking turrets incredibly successfully, but Immortals, they say no. BMFX gets pretty much taken out before he's even able to do so. Unfortunately for Dare, Trevor's engage is solely lacking here. The nice flash from Limo gets him away from the chain, but Meech just dashes forward rather with the Gale Force. A great flash from him actually to get away from Censored. Sort of resets the fight for a little bit, and then with the Graviton able to find the root. And this here, double fear into a good bait from the shield. You start to think, okay, they've stepped a little too far forward, but then they've still got Meech, who's absolutely fine, and then Anime Girl goes and does this.
If he had predicted the flash though, it would have been crazy.
Cool. It wouldn't have killed him either, which is the best part, but it would have been cool.
Yeah, well, and now it's going to be harder to kill him, I will say. Enigma has been playing really well, and I love that we're getting the chance to see him on the Vex. As to whether it'll be enough, totally different story. We're going to get a chance to find that out later, but I am enjoying his play as of so far. For right now, Winston trades places with Limo, pops that Crescent Garden, is ridiculously tanky for the time being. Enigma gets taken down in the meantime, and that was the plan all along. As Limo has to flag and drag his way out, Winston again commits onto him over the wall, and Shochi even goes for BMFX in the backline, but not quite confident enough to jump in on it. Immortals AOE got what they came for. Now they get to back right off, securing not just the entire top side, but also bot lane tier 2, because Anime Girl wasn't even there.
You know who else wasn't there? DM Meech wasn't there. He's been farming up a Storm in the mid lane as well. They're taking turrets. That was a 3v5 in the enemy jungle that they are coming out on top of. The gold values really are speaking for themselves right now, and the ability to move around Summoner's Rift and take the turrets really are just extending the lead time and time again. Censored going to attempt to freeze on the top lane, which, you know, that's great. We're 16 and a half minutes in, and it's probably the best way for them to get back into this game. But I don't think that there's anyone that he can successfully freeze against is my issue, because if anybody walks up and starts hitting him, he's not going to be able to zone them off of that. He's not going to be able to go, well, if you step up to me, you'll die. Because if they step up to him, they'll kill him.
Yeah, and Anime Girl will step up to him at this point. 2 completed items already. This Graves is terrifying. I want to see Anime Girl hit people, and at the same time, I don't want that for the people that
you don't want people to get hit by Anime Girl. Yeah.
Exactly. Like I just wouldn't wish that upon folks, and unfortunately, it's likely going to happen at some point in this game. Censored already pushing into Anime Girl for right now, so the time for top lane fights is going to be nigh pretty darn soon, but in the meantime, they're, I think rightly so, are avoiding as many fights as they can, getting farm onto BMFX in the mid lane, trading it out with Enigma, and letting Immortals AOE run the map around them. This second dragon doesn't really hurt, so if you can give it up, why wouldn't you?
Oh, you might give it up to not have your top laner die, but they've got nobody here either. Looks like it's going to be a Rift Herald instead. That's their trade, but look, yeah, Trevor, exactly. In the right place at the right time here. It doesn't look like Limo's going to try and take down Anime Girl. There's a, you know, that thought process of, oh, they just took Herald, maybe they're coming to kill us, and that could be it.
He's going, it's 2v2. Nobody knows it just yet, and the information comes through a little too late. Limo now having to back all the way off with the Rift Herald, I might add. Does get away underneath the tower, or at least it looked like it. Does take a chunk right back, and knows that he can't stick around against Anime Girl and Trevor, so we'll have to find another place to put the Rift Herald down, because, well, Shelly loves taking down towers. She doesn't defend them particularly well.
No, you're quite right. So what one trick pony in regards to turret taking, Shochi?
Oh god. Oh god, how does he know? How does he know? Enigma
timing.
almost dies. How? Seriously, how did he know?
So he sees Shochi, he sees Enigma clearing the bot lane, and he's just literally counting. It's all timing, and again, incredibly impressive. Like I'm as surprised as you are, but the chain missing, unfortunately, means that there's no solo bowler to come through. Only forces Enigma to take a lolly walk back to the base. But it's not a solo kill, and Shochi misses out on his 10th Dark Seal stack. But we get it pretty soon.
Winston is actually he puts the audacious charge, and he's going to be doing it once again, as with that Crescent Guard, he's got plenty of space. Oh, the satchel charge just
that was so
canceling the grand entrance, and Dare have no idea how lucky they are.
It's just a random satchel on the floor, and they're like, okay, we'll just let it explode, and then all of a sudden Trevor gets booped out of his what could have been huge engage. You know, sometimes the stars align for Dare, and you know, overall, broad scape of the game, maybe that's not the case, but in that one instance, you take your wins where you can get them.
It's before 20 minutes, and we have a 10,000 gold lead, or actually nearly, excuse me, we are 200 gold off from a 10,000 gold lead, so we are very, very close. The stars will have to align several more times for Dare to continue in this game. However, they're not technically out of it yet. This gold perhaps telling a slightly different story.
Yeah, that's not a pretty gold graph like to look at here. I mean, 3.5k in the AD carries, 4k in the top laners, and then a myriad of gold elsewhere. Personal space timing.
All right, everything lands. Everything lands. Shochi hit absolutely everything, and now he even gets out alive. What is this? The flash timing just too good, with Winston coming back and a teleport drawn out.
Here we go.
We're
5v5.
probably gonna fight. Censored gets chained, but doesn't actually complete on the route. But Winston again with the audacious charge, and now the Rakan to back him up lays in so much damage. The showstopper does take Trevor out of the fight, but Censored doesn't even pick up the kill as Anime Girl comes in to clean that up. It is a full-on ace in under 10 seconds. Immortals AOE want to send themselves to the playoffs, but they are not doing it casually. They are doing this with style.
Yeah, but you know, we'll just send 5 people down into the bot lane randomly to answer your 5 people in the bot lane. Let's just flip the game here on a fight in the bot side, and granted, it probably wasn't as big a flip on Immortals' side. They had a significant advantage coming into this one, and with the inhibitor now being slain, being felled, it is going to be even easier for Immortals AOE to extend their lead here in this game. It's a little bit of deja vu. There's no mid lane inhibitor falling, but the core principles, honestly, much the same here. With the Baron spawned, has been alive for about a minute now. Immortals, with that ever-present pressure down in the bot lane, they should just be able to walk over and take this, honestly. Limo is spotted on super minions in the bot side, and whilst they may end up trading a Drake, I don't even know that that's the case. Observers are doing a great job right now. Look at the vision, dear, because I can't see any.
No, at this point, Dare are... It feels like they're
all
dining
playing
at a dark
Gleason.
table restaurant right now. They're desperately trying to figure out what the Braille says on the menu, because they cannot for the life of them understand what is going on around. Right now, at the very least, Shelly will provide them some bastion and some way to get gold back, as objective bounties are going to be nice, but not nearly nice enough. This gold just keeps rocketing forward, and Immortals are unbothered, unless, of course, their name is Winston and Anime Girl, who want to try and take a 2v3, and honestly, will probably do it. They are jumping forward right now, and with Limo on sub 100 HP, with already Enigma gone and Blossoms on the run, Immortals AOE are going to pick up at least 2 kills now, might make it 3, but
they don't know.
Not going to spot out Limo, and the base in tatters as they return. Dare are going to find themselves down not 1, but 2 inhibitors, and maybe even a 3rd.
The fact that Galio taunts in Zao is absolutely hilarious. It's like, oh, you've taunted me when I've got my Q ready and I'm an auto-attack based champion. Whatever will I do? And just knocks him up, but beats him down anyway. Meech now taking the final inhibitor, playing the game tutorial mode style while the rest of his team are trying to farm ADR underneath the turret. Not looking like the base is left for much longer. Now that the Baron is live, they've not even reset all of them here.
This is the fight, this is the fight. The fear came in, but the taunt didn't. Bomb's already gone wide. Blossoms is so low, and while he will survive, Limo is gonna go cold and not even gonna get the chance to do that. Immortals AOE have not lost a member, and they will not, they cannot, as they chase down BMFX, looking for that final kill. Winston not gonna find it, but from over the wall, the Sigil of Malice connects, sending Immortals AOE out of the group stage into the playoffs, sending us all to the playoffs with a massive bang.
6-27, the ending scores. D at 19,000, the gold lead at the end of that game. Immortals AOE answer all the critics, put themselves firmly in a point of power, the position that they needed to do, honestly. Coming in, having lost to Winthrop earlier on in the tournament, but being in the lower bracket for the duration of this group stage, they needed to step up like this, and they needed to showcase quite how high caliber they were. And, you know, having expected them to be playing like this throughout the tournament, it's good to see them return to what we expected to be winning ways.
It was absolutely insane to see the turnaround from the beginning of the group stage as well, because the IMT AoE that lost to Winthrop is not the same IMT AoE that we saw today. It's the same players, it might even be the same playstyle, but it is so much further evolved that you have got to look out. If you were underestimating this team going into playoffs, you're going to get knocked out of playoffs. There's no two ways about it.
I mean, this is now going to be a bit of a trial by fire, because they go up against 100 Thieves next as their opponents in the next stage of yeah, exactly dear, that's a pretty good reaction to have. So I mean, if this team goes up against 100 Thieves next, one thing that we can say is that it's going to be a great series.
That's true. I am really looking forward to seeing it, because 100 Thieves next don't mess around, but clearly neither does this iteration, this evolution of the IMT AoE roster. On the other side of a very quick break, we're going to have our analyst desk break everything down for you, and I can't wait to hear what they had to say.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome on back to the Unified Proving Ground Circuit Qualifier, as we have a special interview with the jungler from Dare, Limo. Hello. How's it going, man? I know it was a rough series there, but how's everything going with you guys?
You know what? Not bad. We came here to win, but I mean, stuff happens. We didn't get a whole lot of practice. I'm glad that we made it as far as we did. It was a great experience for, I think, everyone on our team, and yeah, had a lot of fun, especially.
I mean, look, you got a lot to be proud of. Every single person on Dare. I want to highlight something. Dare was the 20th seed going into this, and you guys beat nothing but competition that was above your seed to qualify to begin with, and you guys made it all the way here. And you guys only had like a week of practice, right, before the qualifier actually started?
Yeah, it wasn't even practice. It was tryouts for most of our team. So we made our team on the final day for signups, which was really fun. But it was a good time.
That sounds amazing. You guys banded together and picked up some dubs. I mean, you guys tackled just about every single... I don't think you guys lost to a single amateur team in terms of just like the regular amateur teams. It was like LCS affiliated orgs and collegiate teams were the only ones. You guys were the amateur slayers. How did that feel?
I mean, it was awesome. Winning was definitely... We came in here thinking we would qualify, which we did. 4-1 was definitely a big jump. I think all of us were surprised by that. But that happening and getting the chance to continue to compete on even in front of more people was a lot of fun, and we're really lucky to have that chance.
Yeah, and I mean, you had some star-studded plays as well. I still remember the Jin Zhao insect play in the Supernova game. You guys had a lot of fun moments, and honestly, it's been one of the feel-good stories, especially inside of this. How are you guys looking at approaching your downtime that you guys now have, unfortunately, after being eliminated?
I'm gonna be honest. I don't think we've planned that far ahead. But I know that we're gonna continue practicing. Hopefully, some of us will get picked up by bigger orgs, but if we don't, we'll be back for the next Proving Grounds with hopefully first place in mind.
Look, sign these players. Go through the Dare roster, look at the ats, check them out. Every single one of them phenomenal. Every one of y'all have had a fun time here. I gotta ask now for you going into this, what is your fondest memory so far here inside of the qualifier?
Either beating Wildcard Red or the Insect versus Supernova. Both of those felt so good. Really hype. Definitely beating Wildcard Red because it was our 4th win and we had never expected to have that happen was super, super hype. All of us were yelling. I think we have clips of that on the Dare Twitter page. It was an awesome time winning, especially. Wow.
Absolutely. Go check that out, everybody. What are you doing? You need to check these out. I mean, you guys, that's not a low feat anyways. You guys beat people who have played inside the LCS before in that matchup. That's huge for you guys. So congratulations on that. That being said, do you have anything you would like to say to all the people who didn't know who Dare were, but now they are in love, they are following you guys, and they are invested in each one of your journeys? What do you have to say?
Probably just keep your eyes on us. Not even if we're not all on the same team after this split. Make sure that you search out for all of these players. All of them are so talented at everything they do, and I'm sure all of them have pretty amazing careers to come. And it'll be fun to see where we go.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm sure the sky is the limit. You guys are going to do fantastic, and I look forward to seeing how you guys go. That being said, thank you, Limo, for coming in. We are going to go ahead and send this over to the desk as we get ready to get in to this series. As we are back, ready to break it down. It was a 2-0 for IMT AOE. They did continue to be mad. They did continue to smash, and they looked convincingly so strong inside this series here.
Yeah, this is a really, really good series for Immortals. It seems like they just keep scaling up. They keep getting better as a team. It's exactly what you would want from a team like this that is expected to be playing together all throughout this entire year. They're affiliated with that LCS organization. They're making waves. They're taking names. And yeah, congratulations on them moving forward into the playoffs. This is a great series to do it with.
And Nicole, you got to come in here, see these players lay it all out on the line here. How are you feeling after walking away from this series here?
From what I've seen, Immortals seems really promising. I'm interested to see how they'll perform in playoffs.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing. They have Taco Gaming. They better not find them on a Tuesday. That joke's never going to get old.
Are they playing tomorrow? I think they might be playing tomorrow, in which case they would. So.
Oh man, you don't want to fight them on a Tuesday. It's not. You look for the reschedule. But we do have ourselves some replays here to go into it because there were some interesting things that did happen. Going into this game, we did see a draft coming out of Dare, focused on that early game. And you saw Limo was definitely having that on his mind, looking for that early gank.
We gotta watch the early gank. We just gotta see it. See this level 2 Jarvan experience. I'm so excited for this. Do you do this very often in your games, Nicole?
No, almost never. This right here is extremely risky thing, and I feel like they had that pressure of none of them really outscaling and facing against a late game of Philo stat. So I can see him wanting to get a good early game beat in here. It was very all or nothing, and they got nothing. They got less than nothing actually.
Definitely less than nothing. It's a struggle. Yeah, I really like that you pointed out the bot lane scaling thread again for Immortals because they drafted the same way in both games, right? They had this Aphelios on Meech for both of them. You just got off of a game where Meech just completely crushed all of your hopes and dreams in game 1, and I feel like you have to attack that player in the early game, but they just don't agree with me.
Let him scale again.
They just let Meech do as Meech does, but there was a new threat that was unveiled in this game, and that was a player by the name of Shochi, who had a fantastic fight up in the top side of the river.
Yeah, Shochi is playing one of my least favorite matchups that I've ever played in the entire game of League of Legends, which is LeBlanc into Vex. This matchup is completely unplayable in lane. So the fact that he's able to come into a full-on teamfight skirmish up here on the top side and walk away with 4 kills is just so huge for this player. He gets these shutdowns as well. You can see him just dancing in and out of the fight. It's really difficult to actually fully engage with this Vex still standing there with the fear up, and you're about to see the fear actually does cancel out the distortion. This is why this matchup is so hard for LeBlanc, but Shochi still plays it super well. I'm really impressed by this guy in every single team fight that he played in this series, and it seems like he's only getting better. Yeah, just my respect to Shochi for being brave enough to pick this champion, not ban Vex, and still gain these results.
It's actually just
The
disgusting.
recall at the end, I didn't notice that.
Yeah,
Oh, that's so BM.
I mean, and that was a fight too. I remember watching it originally. I was like, "Oh dear, they stole the Herald!" And then it was just like Sochi's just cleaning up, popping up, distorting all over the place. I'm like, okay, but they got Herald though. But it was a big fight that really showed IMT AOE really taking the advantage and going for themselves. The last replay that we have here shows a mid lane fight, 5v5. They go for the scrap. There is chaos everywhere. And even Enigma picks up a triple, but IMT is still so far ahead.
Yeah, the triple kill for Enigma is really valuable, because with a draft like this, if you do fall behind in the early game, the only possible win condition that you have is through Enigma and Ziggs, the Yordles from the TFT set, trying to pull the late game damage on these double mages. So Enigma getting these kills is really good, but like you said, Travis, they're already so far behind, and they don't even like fully win out on this fight either. I believe they ended up trading 3 for 3 by the end, so it's a nice moment for Enigma, but it's just a little too late.
Just a bit unfortunate. As you can even see, like, it's a triple kill.
Cut the tape for Anime Girl's sake. Oh no, we don't need to watch that. Oh no.
That's positive for Enigma. Yes. But I mean, you got to see, and Nicole, you were even talking about it. Like, it was inside all this chaos.
Yeah, it looked really good.
Yeah.
It looked really good, but they ended up going even in that fight, and it didn't really do anything for them in the end.
Just unfortunate, unlucky in that case and scenario, and the biggest unlucky was just IMT AOE. Like I said, and the theme is still there. They're angry. They're smashing through the competition right now, and honestly, they've been putting up very convincing W's here. As we do have our post game to kind of see yet again how convincing it has been for this squad here.
I'm imagining another Aphelios damage spike in this one again. They're
There's no post game.
Just picture it in your mind's eye right now. Another game of Meech just like completely breaking the damage charts.
The slope is this the correct angle?
Yeah.
Just the slope. There's your graph. It just goes up. It's just insane. I mean,
yeah. For Immortals moving forward, like I really do feel like they have some of the top players in their role in both Winston and Meech. And that's really valuable because there's an academy team in this tournament. There's 100 Thieves next who has LCS players on there as well. This is a really valuable set of players to have, and everybody else is really pulling their weight too. They've really, had their wake-up call after losing the first round. From this point out, they haven't lost a single game. Now moving forward into playoffs, I think this is actually definitely a team to maybe take it all the way up to the finals. They've got a pretty tough side of the bracket as well. Like Golden Guardians Academy is on their side, but I really do feel like they're going to be competitive in those games moving forward. I can't wait to see them play tomorrow.
Absolutely. So, that being said, that is it for us here on the desk. That means we have to say goodbye to our wonderful guest, Nicole. Nicole, where can they find you? Are you terrorizing the Rift with the Karthus jungle, or what are you up to?
I'm trying to get a lot of streaming hours in nowadays, so yeah, be on the lookout for that.
Absolutely.
Right.
And hey, follow her on Twitter. The @'s on the thing right there. @Nicole_Clash.
Wait, what's your Twitch at? What's your Twitch at? I'll follow you right now.
It is at Nicole with a 0 instead of an O. Nicole.
Nicole. All right,
Yeah.
found
Nicole
you.
was taken.
You are followed.
Get that plug in there. Let's go. With that being said, make sure you check her out. And thank you again to everybody who tuned into the Analyst Desk. We're about to throw it over to our interview here with Sochi. Sochi, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic, and I gotta say, feels good, right? You guys have been on a rampage inside ever since you guys dropped that one game, one series. You guys have looked unstoppable. What happened?
Yeah, so we did take that pretty unfortunate L to Winthrop last time, but scrims have been going well. We've been learning from all our mistakes, and I think I played much better in this series. And yeah, I'm just glad I got to perform.
You performed really well. Smats had a big compliment on your LeBlanc there inside of game number 2. As Sochi begins to blush.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
I mean, you had a fantastic LeBlanc performance there in game number 2 especially. How was going through narrating the LeBlanc fight? This was a matchup that I believe you chose to go into. How was the LeBlanc? How was navigating this?
Yeah, so actually, I think it was in scrims, like, I might be leaking a little stuff, but if you take Airy and, like, Ignite as LeBlanc, you can actually bully the Vex early on. And I saw, I think, Humanoid do it in the LEC, and I just decided to try it this game, and actually allowed me to get priority early on in the lane, and makes the matchup a lot more playable for the LeBlanc side, because Vex is usually seen as a counter, but getting that early prio, like, enables Winston and like the team in general to just make more aggressive plays early on around me.
Yeah, and that's fantastic, especially when you've got playmakers all over. You guys were firing on all cylinders all across the map. Anime Girl, at one point in time, was referred to as the proud dad of the team. Does Anime Girl fit that build?
Yeah, definitely. Like I'll be taking blue buff and he'll be telling me, "Shochi, go mid lane after you get blue buff," and I'm like, "Okay, man, thanks for the help." Like, yeah, he definitely likes to order me around a little bit like I'm his little brother, but I appreciate it. It keeps me in check because sometimes I like to get a little goofy.
I mean, look, top lane just got to interact with y'all somehow, right? Like, we're on an island, we got to do something. We got nothing but CS to farm. We can look down across the mini map every now and then. Well, you guys had an also very impressive performance coming out of your bot lane. Meech especially has had a killer series as well. How does it feel playing with a team where every single position can just carry phenomenally?
Yeah, so it feels really good being a part of such a strong roster. Like any one of us can carry a game, I'm sure. And at the beginning, we struggled, like playing through our top laner, for example, but we've been working on, or like playing through mid even, and we've been working on getting better at all styles so that like we can go into our matches with like many options available to us. Because you saw Meech had like 350 CS. We were all funneling him CS in that Aphelios game,
Yeah.
trying to get him that Doing CS hack. But yeah, Meech is definitely a really strong player, and if any of us get a good amount of resources, we can take a really good game from there.
All right, my last question. You guys have Taco Gaming on Taco Tuesday. Well,
Yikes.
how are you feeling going into the matchup, man? This is like raid boss materials. The Dark Souls boss music playing right now.
Yeah. So I was watching the little slideshow that you guys had on the Academy stream, and we were the only team to actually defeat Taco Gaming on a Taco Tuesday. So I'm not too worried going into that series. We played pretty well against them in the OQs. I feel like there's no mismatch in any of the lanes, and I think as long as we perform, we'll be able to take home a dub for sure.
All right, no Taco Tuesday can hold down Sochi
No,
and
sir. No,
IMT
sir.
AOE. I like it. They'll be feasting on Tacos Tuesday, it seems. With that being said, Sochi, do you have anything you would like to say to anybody who's been watching IMT AOE that been fans of yours personally or have been along for the ride?
Right. I'd like to shout out all the people who support us, everyone who just kept sticking through us with that fat L to Winthrop means a lot. Make sure to follow me, twitter.com, lolshoji. I post bangers only. Thank you to my coaches, Akash and Julius, and even Deos and Ida who've helped me in the past. Appreciate it a lot, and I'm gonna make sure I lead the team to some more victories in the future.
All right, that's what I'm talking about. Let's see it. We'll get some more Lol Sochi gameplay coming in. Make sure you follow them on the Twitter. We'll have some huge, I'm sure, more compliments to follow from Smats as we get to see you tomorrow. With that being said, thank you so much, everybody, for tuning into the stream. That is going to be it here for us. You make sure you catch us tomorrow, same time, same place, for more Proving Grounds action. That being said, have yourselves all a fantastic night.